The Simpsons' prediction about Charlie Kirk that no one is talking about. What if I told you that the Simpsons may have once again done the impossible? That hidden within one of their countless storylines was a chilling prediction, connected to none other than conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Most people aren't talking about this, but if you look closely, the pieces begin to line up in a way that feels almost too eerie to ignore. Now, let's take a step back for a moment. The Simpsons has become infamous for its so-called predictions over the years. We've seen them seemingly foreshadow Donald Trump's presidency, Disney buying out major companies, and even technological advances that were decades ahead of their time. Every time a major world event happens, people rush back to old episodes, convinced that Matt Groening and his team somehow saw it all coming. But here's where it gets even more strange. In one particular episode, the show introduces a storyline centered on political rallies, chaos breaking out in universities, and a character that many fans online have pointed out bears an uncanny resemblance, both in mannerisms and in speech patterns, to Charlie Kirk. It wasn't a named character, of course, but the character was a loud, polarizing, conservative voice, clashing with students on campus, warning about free speech being silenced. Sound familiar? For years, Charlie Kirk has built his reputation by speaking at college campuses, often drawing controversy, protest, and heated exchanges. But in this episode of The Simpsons, things go in a much darker direction. The fictional activist in Springfield becomes the target of an unexpected and violent backlash, and the episode closes with a bizarre moment that now feels unsettling in hindsight. The town discussing how one man's voice had sparked a movement that ended in silence. Now, I want you to think about this carefully. Was this just satire, like The Simpsons always does? Or was it something more? A subtle warning, a prediction buried in comedy? The timing makes it all the more disturbing. When you line up the fictional episode with real events around Charlie Kirk, the protests, the heated debates, and even the recent tragedy that shocked the nation, the parallels are hard to brush off. Fans online are starting to dig into this episode again, pointing out small details, background signs, and even lines of dialogue that feel almost prophetic. For example, in the animated town hall scene, you see protesters holding signs that read, "Stop the silence," and "Free speech ends here." Those slogans echo the very same debates we've seen in real life surrounding Kirk's appearances. The resemblance is enough to make you wonder. Were the Simpsons writers simply observing cultural trends? Or did they somehow tap into a future that hadn't happened yet? Here's the part no one is talking about. Toward the end of the episode, a Springfield news anchor delivers a closing line that, when rewatched today, feels downright chilling. History repeats itself, but Springfield never learns. Think about that for a moment. Was this just a throwaway joke? Or was it a cryptic nod to the idea that the cycle of political violence, outrage, and silenced voices would continue in the real world? The eerie thing about The Simpsons' predictions is that they're often spotted after the event happens. Nobody noticed the parallels until reality lined up with the script. And with Charlie Kirk's shocking story still unfolding, more and more people are beginning to wonder if this was another example of The Simpsons being ahead of its time. So, is this just coincidence? A satirical show being misunderstood in hindsight? Or is there something bigger going on with The Simpsons? Something that makes their so-called predictions feel far too accurate to dismiss. One thing is certain. This prediction about Charlie Kirk is not being talked about widely. But maybe it should be. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that in Springfield and in real life, the line between comedy and reality is a lot thinner than we'd like to believe.